Christine and Tim.
Christine, Sofran, Nitin.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
All right. Hello. So excited to be back here. It's been a while, actually. I haven't done a live in a couple weeks because so much has happened. Can you believe it? We're already in Q2. So much has changed politically, economically, socially. I know all of you are feeling it. I am reading the DMs, I'm reading the emails. Like, I am literally alongside my entire team reading the messages now because it has become, quite frankly, almost surreal what has happened and changed in business over the past couple of weeks. And it's not going to go back to what it was prior to the pandemic. It's not going to go back to what it was prior to the launch of ChatGPT in 2022. And it's not going to go back to what it was 6 months ago, right? And so this conversation is meant to, first and foremost, really just have a level-headed conversation about where the state of business is today and where you could really position yourself for success despite the craziness that is happening right now. So first and foremost, my name is Christine and Tim. I am the CEO of the Global Startup Ecosystem, and my entire mission since entering the tech scene has really been to not only inspire and empower entrepreneurs to build companies at scale, but also build personal brands that leave a legacy. And in the work that I do through my tech summits, my initiatives around the world, I have always been at the forefront and really at the intersection of working with corporate institution, government institution, regulators, ecosystem builders, and entrepreneurs. And so this conversation is a very pertinent one. Many of you could tell that I received so many messages around people just feeling a little bit lost and overwhelmed as to what to do. And so this is going to serve as, the first quarter of the year, the global state of not only entrepreneurship in 2026, but also I want to share about the new rules of entrepreneurship in this AI era that we're living in right now, and share with you what's working now and what's already dead by not only sharing with you frameworks to really look at the state of business today, but also giving you guys a personal window into what I'm doing with all of my companies across the portfolio, but also what we're also advising entrepreneurs in our portfolio. As you know, at GSC, we have accelerated over 1,000 companies every single year since inception. So we have supported close to 10,000 entrepreneurs to date. And so we are flooded with surprise calls, surprise lives, just to really support our community of entrepreneurs to navigate this system. And I'm sure many of you have realized, if you feel like it's harder to get people to show up, harder for people to buy, harder for people to, close deals, people are ghosting you, people are not following up. If you're feeling like business right now has been challenging, you're not the only one. And I always tell people, anytime you see a crazy shift in buyer psychology or in your ecosystem. I always tell people, look at your own buying behavior, your own behavioral psychology. How have you shifted? Are you excited to show up? Are you excited to do certain things? Are you excited to buy the way you used to? Are you more skeptical? Are you more doubtful? Like, what is your buyer psychology? And extrapolate that to the audiences that you're serving. You'll find that it'll be a lot easier to navigate this market if you're able to see how you yourself are reacting to other products and services that are coming your way. And so, with that said, the three things I wanted to share with you all, just to give you a window into what we're going to, really bite size have a conversation today about, is really three things. One, how to prepare your business. Two, how to prepare yourself as the entrepreneur and CEO. And three, how to prepare your ecosystem, i.e., your stakeholders, your customers, your partners, your friends, your family. Really looking at a 360 view of your entire stakeholdership to make sure that you are winning in this climate. So I'll take a step back and say how to win in business right now. First and foremost, I have made this very clear. I've been saying this for a couple months now, that how you actually generate revenue is going to have to change because of trust issues that are happening in the market, and because of buyer, skepticism and scarcity in the market. You are going to have to really change your business model framework. So what does that mean? Right now, I would say that there is really a market correction that's happening. I think the pandemic has created an influx of entrepreneurs who are not prepared to be entrepreneurs in this market. And a lot of players enter the digital space with real improper products, improper services, really, I would say shitty service. I mean, literally, we had an influx, not only from 2020 to 2022, of entrepreneurs who weren't in it for the right reasons. I mean, we could judge those reasons all day long, but we had people who came in to entrepreneurship during an easy time to be an entrepreneur. So they didn't really get the fundamentals of business during that time frame between the pandemic and 2022. And then you had this certain burst onto the scene of a radical technology that I feel like really changed us for the rest of days, which is the launch of ChatGPT. And that changed now how people were able to really optimize themselves. So you have this combination of new entrants into the market combined with people having a new tool that never was at disposal in this way. I liken the launch of ChatGPT almost like the launch of the iPhone when they was launching the App Store, where our entire relationship with our cell phones never been the same since. That's when we had the rise of social media, the rise of the sharing economy. So much shifted in 2 years, from 2020 to 2022, and then from 2022 up until 2025. And right now, as we look at this year, 2026, people are thinking, okay, too much has happened. It feels like you guys have experienced probably like 10 decades of change in literally 5 years. That's what it feels like. And if you feel like 5 years was disruptive and very crazy, the past 5 months was even crazier when you add the layers of social unrest, economic shifts, and also political shifts that's happening around the world, the geopolitics of it all. And so with that said, your business model has to do two things. And this is what we're sharing with our entrepreneurs. First and foremost, and just being very simple and down to earth with this, you got to make sure that you as a founder, you as an entrepreneur, are an accelerant to your business and not an activator of your business. What do I mean by this? A lot of us as entrepreneurs, if we are not running the mill of the business, right? If we are not, there on a day-to-day running the operations, running the business development, running the sales team, running the marketing team, really lighting gasoline on the fire of trying to get the team to really churn out the services and products, the business kind of comes to a halt. And you need to have a more sustainable business model that might not fit this era of business, right? And so I give you a real simple example. So at GSC, we were running multiple tech summits around the world. I'm talking about 6-figure summits where we are gathering close to 100 speakers per event, close to 3,000, attendees coming in and out of these conferences, per event. And we were even doing it at scale where we were doing it at multiple countries all simultaneously, all around the world, working with stakeholders of all different calibers, celebrities, government officials, presidents, tech, moguls. It was a mammoth of a program, right? And I remember, looking at the growth that we were having over the years, and it was very clear that if I was not at the heart of launching these events, closing these deals, closing these partnerships, the summit will not even move forward, right? And so it took some time, and this is even before all these crazy things were happening with the market. It took some time for me to go back and really think about the business model without me. Where can the team run the entire framework, first off, of an event, but also an ecosystem, showcase platform for entrepreneurs, and close deals with external stakeholders who are invited to the event all simultaneously. And if they can't, how do I look at our operational framework, dissect it, break it down, reconstruct it to make it like pretty much a blueprint and a playbook for anyone on the team to be able to model? And that's what we started to do. Now, what happened there is, yes, there was a lot of friction we had to really overhaul the business model for close to 2 years. It was a very tough transition for our entire team, for our entire products, for our entire stakeholdership. However, we were able to now start running these events without me being a key glue to make these events move forward. And what happened is, if I showed up at an event, it was an accelerant, right? It was to accelerate the growth, the visibility, the caliber of the event, because my energy, my flow, how I was working the stage, how I was working the audience, how I was working the community, it became an accelerant and not the foundation of the event. And that got me thinking about all the businesses, not only that I had in my portfolio, but going back to our entrepreneurs who have been building their businesses in a certain way during the Silicon Valley hype era, and really going back to the drawing board and changing their business model dynamics. And so with that said, 3 things that became very, very clear is that, one, marketing cannot be heavily dependent on an action item where you have to pull audiences to you. You have to do something where you were able to get out there and really organically get people to know you. So, for example, one of the things that we were sharing with our entrepreneurs on the last live call is that your business needs 3 things to operate in this economy right now in terms of a business model. You need to have the product or service, the core product or service. If you have 20 different products or services, you need to scale it down. And this is very, very crucial, because I know sometimes we have a FOMO mentality where, well, this one is selling, this one's selling. But if you look at the numbers, which one is bringing you 80% of your bottom line, everything else, even if it's trickling in revenue, is actually taken away from you staying focused on the core product or service that's actually bringing in the maximum amount of revenue. So what happens is, what we were telling our entrepreneurs, look at your product and service, scope of work, and scale it down. If you could get it to one core product, even better. Okay. So at the heart of that core product, a lot of times people just go out there and pitch and try to sell their product. No, you need to now have a key training, onboarding, or kind of demo experience of why that product or service is actually a great solution in the market. So that could be you doing weekly lives talking about the product or solution, and you having weekly conversations and how that solution has been very helpful. You doing live, interviews with your clients and partners and stakeholders. You looking at the front end of free experience, 60 minutes or less, 30 minutes or less, 20 minutes or less, to get people to not so much buy into your product, but relate to the solution that you're providing. Because that's what really shifted in today's economy, that not everyone needs your solution. People need to be aligned with your methodology as well, right? And so 2 people can be selling ice cream, but that doesn't mean I want ice cream made the same way, right? I might want ice cream to be frozen at the top and then mushy at the bottom, right? And so there are some things that you need to be able to articulate to the public before they could buy from you. And that wasn't as necessary as before, but that is a core part of business model revamping that a lot of people are doing right now to make sure they are positioned for success. So have a core, like I said, structured learning experience where people get to know you as a founder, but also get to know the solution that you have. And the third thing is a follow-up strategy. I can't stress this enough. Marketing was all you needed sometimes to close in clients. Now the revenue is really in the follow-up. You have to follow up with people via email, via DMs, via messages, via phone calls. And so what happens if you look at your workflow, okay, your business model workflow, let's say you have a 30-day calendar year, you go live once a week to talk about this product, service, or thing that you're doing in the market. And the call to action is, by the way, that core product. Let's say you go live every Tuesday, your call to action is that product. You'll be pretty much doing follow-ups Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, sometimes Saturdays with an information session if need be. And then you repeat that cycle again week 2, you repeat that cycle again week 3, and you repeat that cycle again week 4. What happens is, even if, and goes back to this Google case study where people need at least 7 hours of touch points with you to really build trust and want to buy from you, those people who didn't buy for you in week 1, most likely they're going to start buying from you by week 7. And this is not something that is slimy or salesy. This is just sincerely, as people get to see you and get to know you and get to know the product and solution and seeing different iterations and interactions with that product or service, they become more comfortable, more familiar, and more prone to buy. So as you're scaling that, as you're building momentum, and this is something that we teach in our live sessions, is that you are now building momentum where by the end of the year, you have this massive pent-up demand for your product because you have been building rapport throughout the year by giving that thought leadership for free, but directing that thought leadership, engagement to your product or service. So that's the new business model structure that a lot of people are resetting. I know I'm doing that with my businesses, and it is something that I've been doing actually for the past 2 years. Almost every offer that I have for every one of my business, I've stripped down the number of products that we're doing, stripped down the number of service offerings that we're doing, and made sure that the business model, the core product, had a call to action, which is the core product, but also had a way of me going live and sharing with people why this was a great solution for whatever challenge that they were doing specific to that audience. Okay. So that's the first thing, really revamping and resetting your business model framework. Number 2 is also stop treating your personal brand as a side project. I cannot stress this enough. In a market where the world is getting overrun with AI and all these different fake players on the market, people need to get to know the founder behind any product or service right now. Gone are the days where I know there was a lot of virality around having faceless accounts. Go ahead, you could do it. But if you want to build momentum, legacy, brand recognition, respect, a reputation that really opens doors, you need to show up more, right? And so one of the frameworks that we've been showcasing in Personal Brand Business School specifically, which is a separate series that I've been doing privately with my clients, part-time really, is really sharing with them, like, okay, what is your personal brand management strategy right now? How are you showing up, giving people a window to you? And that doesn't mean showing your private affairs where you're going live every single day, doing a day-to-day and just doing an inspiration quote and think that that's personal brand management. No. What are you learning? What is your experience? What is your expertise? And how are you adding value with that experience that you're having behind the scenes? Because not every founder is created the same. We all have different experiences, different lenses of how we look at opportunities and challenges. How are you navigating those challenges? This right now is a case study in personal brand management. I am sharing with you my thought leadership, how I'm navigating this climate, how we're teaching thousands of other entrepreneurs in our portfolio to do the same. This is literally case in point what personal brand management is right now, where you are being sincere, you're being open, you're being honest, being laid back, but also very much transparent with tangible insights and information that can help your audience, not just random stuff where I'm like, look, this is what I ate today. I'm sure you're probably interested, maybe on a personal level, like, hey, Christine, like, what do you eat? What do you cook? How are your kids doing? Because everyone knows I just had my 5th child. Great. But fundamentally, people are also here from some real strategic insight to go. So second thing is really look at really creating a business model around your personal brand. I always tell people revenue is not a slimy thing when it comes to your personal brand. It's really a representation of demand. It's a representation of whether you are hitting the nail on the head and really giving people tangible value that they could go back and leverage with their own personal branding strategy. So with that said, look at your business model, reset it, reframe it, make sure that it sticks in a way that it could be accelerated in this market. And second, look at your personal brand and start applying a business model to that. Because what I've found right now, the entrepreneurs that are winning this market, and it's been helping me incredibly like clockwork during this economy, is having a dual brand that's working in tandem. So their personal brand is monetized, their business ventures are monetized, and what's happening is like it's feeding into each other. Right. So you have this duality of success, of growth, momentum, reputational scale that's happening in real time because you're showing up, sharing your thought leadership through your personal brand, but you're also showing up for your clients and your stakeholders through your business ventures. And today, again, I'm always modeling by example. Today is a perfect example of how I'm doing that, where this is a perfect example of me showcasing our product at GSC because our product is a digital accelerator program. So the call to action at the end of this link is for you to sign up to apply to the accelerator program or upgrade to the paid membership to be a part of the paid live deep dive conversations that we have with entrepreneurs to help them really win in 2026. This is me modeling the business model that has shifted for GST. Before, we didn't need to do this. We could just do an email blast, and we had thousands of applicants. We had thousands of partners. We had thousands of XYZ. Now we recognize that we need to go out there and differentiate ourselves from the market of noise of all these different business gurus to get people to see what we do and really tap into the platform that we have available to them. Part two to that, I'm also going live later on today to talk specifically about how to make your personal brand with you. That's me giving thought leadership specifically from me as a founder, as Christina and Tim, from my personal brand perspective, and monetizing that as well. Because obviously I have a membership community, private, where I support entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs who have been winning and want to stay on top of their game in this economy. So that is how I'm going live on that. So I'm going live twice. And by the way, how I managed both of those two dual, I would say requirements or commitments, it's really scheduling. How am I showing up every week? How am I showing up every month? And making sure that I have a consistent rhythm, or what I would say schedule, that keeps me looking forward to it. Make sure that, my kids are in school, my business deals are scheduled at a certain time. These lives are scheduled at a certain time. And I'm able to, have a great, evening with my family where it's not disruptive. It's not colliding. It's all in sync, but I'm still being able to show up and really add value. So that is this, the second thing around your personal brand. And the last but not least is, how do you manage your stakeholdership, right? How do you make sure that you are navigating this in a way? And I'm going to tell you straight up, I've been doing a lot of one-on-one conversations with peers in my network. So I'm having one-on-one conversations with my client list, my corporate list, anyone that I have spoken to in the past. So I've spoken at over 300 different conferences and events, and many times I get invited back over and over to keynote, to workshop, to facilitate an event. So I've been following up with them, like, how's your content leadership right now this year? How are your students? How are your clients? How are your employees? Like, really following up with previous clients, because that's part of my stakeholders. And when you look at your stakeholders, it's your previous clients, previous partners, previous, collaborators, peers, people that I worked with and collaborate in the past. I'm actually having conversations. And what I do once a month now, I have about 3 hours dedicated to just catching up with people. And these could be 20-minute calls, 60-minute calls, depending on the person, the relationship, and the level of that relationship. But I'm going old school. I'm having conversations because sometimes one of three things happen. One, you get to relate and bond with someone and build a deeper relationship because people are not doing that anymore. Two, you get perspective. You think that maybe you're the only one going through this, and you see that, this is actually happening across different markets, across different industries, because I have a very global audience. So it's great to see the pattern recognition. And third, for me to just remind me to keep going, right? Because again, when business climates like this is challenging, it's very easy for you to fall off the bandwagon and get really demoralized. But no, these conversations will get you fired up and get you ready to go. And again, you got to balance it. I'm like more of I'm like bucket kind of girl. Like I'm an executioner. But I will say, even in a small way, maybe 2 conversations a month, 3 conversations a month can really help frame your perspective, because a lot of people are operating too much in silos. So they don't know what's happening in the market. I've had a client DM me just last week and say, Christine, your lives help me get a pulse on what's going on. So I'm like, look, I'm great, I'm flattered, but you need to do more than my lives, right? Have my life synthesize everything, but really you got to get out there. You got to talk to people. You got to connect with people. So with that said, this was meant to be a really brief live. Let me summarize by saying this. The state of entrepreneurship right now is very, very challenging. Yes, we could all state that. But I said this before, I do think there's a market correction happening right now. I am grateful for it because a lot of the bad actors are getting pulled out of the running. And those of you who are in it for the right reason, you want to build a business with integrity, you want to build it with a mission, you want to build it, with a purpose, you are going to rise to the top. And if you feel like you're overwhelmed and you feel like it's hard to rise to the top, right? I'm telling you, can enable and empower yourself to keep going and keep that resilience by, again, looking at those 3 things we just discussed today. 1, if your business model is not working, you need to change it. You need to simplify it, simplify your scope. Less is more right now. If you have clarity of the product, the core product that you have, and make sure you anchor that product with a preliminary opening demo, conversation, or live to build momentum and energy around that, even if it's trickling in where 1 or 2 people are signing up or 10 people are signing up, 30 people, I promise you the momentum will build. By the end of the year, you're going to see the fruits of your labor of sticking to that business model reset. Number 2, your personal brand can no longer be a side project. You need to show up. You need to give thought leadership. You need to express what you're learning, what you're seeing, what you're feeling. Be you. You need to cross that tipping layer where you are expert to be an authority by sharing that thought leadership, sharing those frameworks, sharing the blueprints, sharing the insights. Let people challenge you on what you're seeing, what you're hearing, because what happens is as you start to elevate those conversations, guess what? You start to elevate your industry. And when you elevate your industry, that's when your reputation starts to get a snowball effect where more and more people are reaching out to you. To this day, I get invites for speaking engagements, invitations to events. I get, featured in media outlets. Literally, the more I keep having these elevated conversations, I already know at the end of this live, I'm going to get several opportunities just because I went live and it became top of mind again. It works. And because you cannot fake this conversation, what I'm doing right now, you can't fake it, right? I'm live in the flesh, having a tangible conversation with you direct to camera. This is what people need to see to really engage with you. And the 3rd thing that I shared today is really nurture your stakeholdership. Nurture your previous clients, nurture your previous partners, nurture your previous peers, nurture your current client network. Have an information session with all your previous customers and tell them, hey, here's how to use a product or service in a different way in 2026. Like literally get creative on how to nurture your ecosystem. You will thank me later for that advice because I am telling you, a lot of people are just falling off the bandwagon because you're just not top of mind. Just by refreshing the feed in a very tangible and nice way, you don't know, you are literally putting like real great positive vibes and energy into the ethos. It will serve you so well in this economy. So with that said, I hope that you are at least looking at this market as actually a chaotic ladder of opportunity. I'm actually quite excited. It is not an easy one, but again, diamonds are made under pressure. If you feel like it's been a crazy ride already this year, it's only going to get higher and higher on the roller coaster. But if you can anticipate that and you're excited and you're ready to go, even if you're tired, get up, get out there, show up, right? Maybe you're not going to show up as crazy as you used to, but you're going to show up as consistent as you can, right? You got to show up. You got to stand up and let people know what you're doing, why you're doing it. And I think the last thing I will say, challenging times really help you see what you're doing for. It really helps you tap into your why. I have had so many internal reflections over the past couple of weeks that's been truly insightful, very inspirational for me personally. And I have seen my energy and my, just my vibe have uplifted a lot of people around me because they could tell that I've been through an evolution, right? And I'm on the other side of it and I'm seeing myself in real time and I have wisdom like, oh, I wish I knew this sooner. I wish I knew this sooner. I had to let that go because you know what? The point of having wisdom is not to be a regret that you have that wisdom today. The point of having wisdom to be able to leverage it for tomorrow. And so that's why I'm doing each and every day. That's why I'm here live. I'm sharing my love and energy with all of you here today. I wish you all the very best. The state of entrepreneurship is here for the taking. Entrepreneurs, stand up. If you are here with mission-led companies, you have a purpose, you want to get out there and do good in this world, we need you to win. Okay, we need you to win in this economy. We need you to show up. We need you to stand up. Get out there. Go get them. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I look forward to answering all the questions on this live. Stay tuned. More to come. All the best. Let's go get them, guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.
But this world, as big as it is, one person can be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind people, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to judge you and tell you you're too